rather new hip suicide gleam. And I know what it's like when your wax socks found and worn by another guy. I know what it's like, and I know it's a crime too. But what makes me try again is to better thought of you. Yeah, I know what it's like to feel like there is somebody watching you. I know what it's like to turn around and see that they were indeed watching you. I know what that's like, and you know that's what I'm not by. Memories of old times made me who I'll never be. Me, I do know what it's like to be big class as a practice and it should go across the views. And I know what it's like to have to trade a girlfriend for a muse. I've been known to say the world is a dance of chance. Suicide if is my name, guess I nearly had you there.
We just listened to I Know What It's Like by Yanlu. It's the first song off his only album, A Society in Which No Tear Is Shed is Completely Mediocre. Welcome to the first episode of Albums of Intrigue, where we discuss albums and musicians that, when context is given, reveal the bittersweet beauty of the world that we rarely are able to witness. Stories of music created out of unlikely circumstances. I'm Asher. I hope you like my voice. So who is Yanlu, and what makes this album special? Vinicius Gagueiro Marques was born on September 1st, 1989, in Brazil. He was smart, like, very smart. Here's a quote from his father, reported by Paste magazine. He learned to read in French. He learned English listening to music and watching American movies without subtitles, without ever having any formal training. As a child, he taught himself 4 languages other than Portuguese and began dabbling in music. His childhood seemed to be normal, if not above average in terms of comfort, but as he entered teenagehood, he began to feel isolated. In 2006, depressed from feeling like he didn't fit in, he sought comfort from the internet, creating the alias Yanlu, predominantly joining the Rollmuck community. That's RLLMUK. According to Wikipedia, they focus mainly on video game discussion. It was here that he found friends. In school, though, he felt more and more depressed, felt more outcast, and became suicidal. One of Yanlu's close friends from the forum, Miller, aka Fargal EX, said, quote, "One thing that got him down was a relationship he had with a girl, Luana, who he wrote a song for. But I don't think that was the sole factor behind the depression. I think he hated being unable to be himself in front of other people. Apparently, he behaved differently in front of his friends." Succumbing to depression, Yanlu told his parents he was having friends over for a barbecue and wanted them to leave for the day so he could impress a girl. Instead, he brought the girls up to the bathroom and committed suicide via smoke inhalation, suffocation. The entire time he was in the bathroom, he was on a suicide forum, as people begged him to stop and he described what it was like to die. His last post was at 3:03 p.m., and he was pronounced dead at 3:30 after a user called the police. Yanlu was weeks away from turning 17. In his suicide note, he thanked his parents for their support but expressed that he couldn't keep going. Later, his father went through Yanlu's computer and discovered more than 20 songs which he sent to friends and family. None other than David Byrne took interest in the work, and 14 of the songs were released officially in 2009, 3 years after his death. One of the earliest songs Yanlu wrote, It's Not Another King Kong, which was retitled A Boy and a Tiger, appears as track 2 and is certainly one of his best compositions and definitely one of his most colorful. Starting with a sample of the intro to the Beatles' Bungalow Bill and traversing through many different movements from folk to rap to an epic finale reminiscent of Ennio Morricone, consistently forging a thin line between funny and insane, it is one of the only times Yanlu is playful on the album, if you could call it playful. Here it is, A Boy and a Tiger.
The Boy, tá ligado? Vamos lá.
In the forest, now tiger was starving. Whoa! And don't you eat his or even the girl. Take what the girl for the animal.
Tiger was clever and she raced for a yawn his cage. She lived in a cage for 10 years. And then the animal don't let the girl leave. And then the animal don't let the girl leave. And then the animal don't let the girl leave. And then the animal don't let the girl leave. And then the animal don't let the girl leave. And then the animal don't let the girl leave. And then the animal don't let the girl leave. And then the animal don't let the girl leave. Precipita. Não, não, tá quase pronto. Só falta mais um pouquinho. Na real, isso aqui é mais pra encher o signo. Porque eu prometi pra todo mundo que a música ia ter mais de 7 minutos.
que diz que quer tomar o poder. Vocês têm coragem de aplaudir este ano uma música, um tipo de música que vocês não teriam coragem de aplaudir no ano passado? São a mesma juventude que vão sempre matar amanhã o velhote inimigo que morreu ontem. Vocês não estão entendendo nada, absolutamente nada.
It seems that Yanlu shared some of his work on the Rollmuck forum in a thread entitled Thread in which Yanlu posts some of his songs. A Boy and a Tiger is the first post, dated May 22nd, 2006. He explains, "This dumb classmate of mine attempted to write lyrics in English and I made a song out of them. Those who decipher the backwards message that plays halfway through win nothing." Though A Boy and a Tiger was based on such seemingly unimportant source materials, Yanlu's psychological tension is very apparent in the song. The feedback for the song was very positive. The next day, Yanlu posted, "Thanks for the compliment, guys. Today I came home thinking about suicide, but reading all these nice words made me postpone that. I do have more songs which I'll post later on, but none of them are quite as random as this one." On May 22nd, Yanlu posted a few more songs, one called Untitled. In the description he writes, "One of the many songs I've been making for a girl I'm in love with. This afternoon I'm going to watch The Da Vinci Code with her. The date is bound to be disastrous, given my baffling lack of social skills. Oh well." Later that night, in response to praise for one of his songs, he posted, "The date, I know none of you care, but wasn't quite as bad as I thought it would be. It was actually worse. My unconsciousness takes yet another loved one away from me. Life is losing friends indeed. Quick, someone say something really nice about my songs before I decide to kill myself." After this post, the forum seemed to realize that things were serious with Yanlu. In a post responding to the song Luana, which Yanlu wrote for the girl he likely went on the date with, user Ojim posted, "That song Luana is fucking amazing. And you just wrote that, right? You've got a sweet voice, the knack for good melody, tasty harmonies, and you put to shame so many songwriters I know. Also, you are so laid. Shit, I wish people wrote songs like that about me." Yanlu replied, "As for me getting laid, unbloody likely. She did like the song, she said it makes her cry every time, I guess that's a good thing. But she knows better than to transfer her love for the song to its songwriter, who quite frankly never fails to make a fool of himself in front of her. If the song had any intention, it was to try and soften the bad impression she probably has of me. It was not to win her heart, let alone her fanny." This was essentially the last post he made on Thread in which Yanlu posts some of his songs. Let's take a break and listen to the song Yanlu wrote for the girl he loved, Luana. This song plays much later on the album.
O sol vê tudo, mas não conhece o amor de uma garota que tem o dom de deslocar assim a lua de Netuno no ar. E quando a noite vem e traz consigo a dor, o sol se apaga e só um sonho a faz lembrar que a noite sempre vai ter fim. Eu aposto que ele nem sabe onde fica Erechim e não sabe o que é sofrer. pesada e num solstício de verão, de verão, de
Thematically, the album is very bleak, as I'm sure you've noticed. Here are lyrics from 3 different songs. I know what it's like to be left out when all your friends try the new hip suicide thing. I know what it's like to feel like there's somebody watching you, and I know what it's like to turn around and see that they were indeed watching you. To be smaller than a grain of salt in the wide sea is all I'll ever be, all I'll ever be. Now she's gone like everyone I ever met. Now my suicide is lit by the sunset. It's pretty sad if you ask me. I don't think I will be around to see your face again. Those were from I Know What It's Like, the first song we listened to, Humiliation and Suicide, respectively. Another theme repeated in his recordings is children playing. In a song not released on the album, Surrounded by Children, it seems that Yanlu found it easier to interact with children than with kids his own age, likely because he found them less judgmental. Speaking of outtakes, let's listen to an unreleased track, Ricky.
I was afraid to believe, be anyone you want to be anyone you want to be. I don't blame my weak for my not being able to speak clearly about things I've said before. And if it's light outside, 9:04, 9:04, and if it's life, it is ours, it is ours. Anywhere you are in a maze is alive. Anywhere you are on a page, just do it to the right. Anytime there's no ground below, you're in the sky. Anytime you're afraid, it's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. I was a flame in the night. I heard what I wanted to hear, and the moment I disappeared, I grew the size of all outside. 'Cause I became one with the night. I became one with the night. And if it's real, it's not all, it's not all there is. There's a love in what appears not to be there at all. And you can't function as someone besides
story of Yanlu has been told too many times to count. A gifted yet misunderstood child is overwhelmed and matures into a disjointed and overly depressed teenager with no confidence or visible recourse. But what a society in which no tear is shed enables is a way to isolate and preserve this horrid feeling and mindset that many of us can relate to. The story of this album is more than a mere tragedy. Tragic it may be, there is a thin white lining that emerges when you think about what this album truly is. The traumas of growing up, the foreignness of puberty, the repression and regimentation of the education system in general are often forgotten immediately if not repressed. Everyone's experience is different, yet rather similar. We don't like to think about the worst-case scenarios when we explore the problems that face our children, but with Yanlu, it's inescapable. It's crystallized into artwork, and damn fine artwork. This collection of random recordings made by a teenager might be the first accidental concept album. Next up is Katie Don't Be Depressed, the last song on side A.
Whoa, Katie, be happy, oh yeah. Oh, 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 Katie, be happy, oh yeah.
2 days after Yanlu's suicide, Johnny5 posted to the thread in which Yanlu posts some of his songs. I don't want to be out of line here or anything, but I think I may have missed something pretty big and very sad here. Is Yanlu no longer with us? I found this thread a couple days ago and had to listen to all the songs in it. They're very good. A user responded with a link to a forum that is no longer available, and Johnny5 continued, "This is the saddest, most depressing thing I've experienced on the internet. My thoughts go out to Yanlu's family and friends. I'd post a sad smiley, but it couldn't properly convey the sadness I'm feeling right now. Rest in peace, Yanlu. I'll continue listening to your music." On March 12, 2008, JLR commented, "I'm still listening to this stuff, and I recently got a PM on MySpace from the mother of a girl who knew him, I think. She commented on how a record is going to be released for him." Rain added, "It's weird to think that he's getting his songs released on an album now, 3 years after he passed away." The unofficial Who says, "I don't know if anyone here was responsible or if someone just randomly came across his work, but Yanlu has made Metafilter today." Quoting it, 16-year-old Yanlu made music that ranged from bossa nova to 8-bit music from the sound of a desktop printer, never knowing that he would someday make the pages of Paste, eMusic, and Rolling Stone Brazil. Here's Polyalphabetic Cipher, the fourth track on A Society in Which No Tear Is Shed is Completely Mediocre. To me, it almost sounds like an outtake from The History of Melody Nelson by Sergei Gainsbourg. On February 12th, 2019, earlier this year, a user named Denna wrote a letter to Yanlu on the same forum he posted his songs. Dear Yanlu, I was only 3 years old when you decided that this world was too heavy for you. Now I'm almost 16, and I feel like I don't belong anywhere. I feel so many things that make me want to scratch my skin and scream. But your music helps me a lot. When I got to know what happened to you 2 years ago, I felt like a part of me I didn't know died and then was reborn. I felt like I had lost a friend, Vinny. I dreamt of you so many times. I miss you, and we've never met. I wish I could have hugged you, listened to you and your demons, been there for you. I just hope you're in peace now. I love you. Thank you for being the most beautiful thing I see and hear every single day. All love, Denna. Artists have always bettered people's lives, and art has always been healing. But Yanlu, from the perspective of this letter, is almost more than that. It doesn't just relate. It literally is an embodiment of woes all too familiar. And that is quite a beautiful legacy to leave behind. The liner notes of the album include a surreal comic of a boy riding a tiger. There are very few words, but in the final panel, the protagonist says, I believe that the right cadence and the right harmony in the right moment can trigger a feeling, even happiness, in the darkest moments. Rest in peace, Yanlu, and thanks. Here's the final song on the album, Waterfall.